speaker is Bill Thomas. Bill is our past EVP, our current president, been with Awesome over 2 years. He is working on his speech number 6, titled Early Arrival, from the basic manual. His speech objective is vocal variety. Time requirements 5 to 7. Come on, everybody, give a good hand for Bill.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests. Early arrivals. I got a call from work one day. Yes, dear, really? Now? Are you sure? Okay, I'm leaving. That was my wife on the phone. And if you could picture this, she was just a little more than 8 months pregnant. She let me know that she didn't feel right, and would I please come home from work to be with her? Reluctantly, I said yes. I got home, and she was sitting on the couch reading the Bible, what to expect when you're expecting. She said, from what I've read and the way I feel, I think I'm going into labor. I said, no, it's way too early for that. You still have a couple weeks to go. And she said again, the way I feel, I think I'm going into labor. I told her to just relax. Be calm. Don't worry about it. So I sat down on the couch, and I did what every father expecting, or what every soon-to-be father whose wife calls him home from work and lets him know that she's going into labor. I laid down and I took a nap. I was tired. I was working a lot of hours lately getting ready for this new baby. So about an hour and a half later, I woke up. I kind of forgot the situation. I opened my eyes and looked around, and she was still sitting on the couch. She hadn't moved a muscle. Now the talk turns to, let's go to the hospital. And I told her, no, we're not going to the hospital. It's too early for that. But as pregnant women can be, she was pretty persuasive, and she finally talked me into taking her to the hospital. I went and got the suitcase that had been packed for 6 months. We got in the car, and we left. But while we were driving there, I told her, I hope this isn't going to take too long. American Idol's on tonight, and I don't want to miss it. Plus, I was hungry from my nap. I wanted her to cook me dinner when we got home. She didn't like that too much. Lost my train of thought. Typically, when you hear about a man driving his pregnant wife to the hospital to deliver their first baby, he's driving around like a maniac, and he gets pulled over by a cop, and then he ends up getting an escort to the hospital. Not me. No. I'm driving slow. I have a pregnant woman in the car with me, and the last thing I want to do is get into a car accident. Plus, I had to stop at the ATM on the way there. I needed money. I didn't want to go into the hospital broke. But what I was going to do with $20 in my pocket in a hospital, I did not know. So finally we get there, and we go inside. I never even grabbed the suitcase that we had the camera in, because remember, this is a practice run. I only wanted to see how long it was going to take us to drive from my house to the hospital. We go inside, and my wife sits behind the check-in counter, and the woman behind the counter asks, so what seems to be the problem? And my wife, I think I'm going into labor. So after a series of questions, they bring out a wheelchair, and my wife gets in it, and I'm thinking, I know I'm going to miss American Idol, and I'm getting hungry. So they wheel us into a room, and they ask my wife to please get into a hospital gown, which she did. She got up on the table, and the nurse came in and did her nurse thing. A couple minutes later, she left. I was thinking, that didn't take too long. About 10 minutes later, the nurse comes back in with one of those wheel you around the hospital beds. Says, let's go, honey, come on, move on over here. I'm like, what? She said, yeah, I got you checked in. We called your doctor. He's on his way in here. We're taking you to the delivery room right now. And I said, no way, this can't be happening. And then it really hit me. I was going to be a father that night. So they took us into the delivery room, and they got my wife situated. I could see that she was a little bit scared, and she was nervous, and she said, it's really starting to hurt. Can I get some drugs? And the nurse looked at her and said, honey, you're too far along. This one's going to be all natural. No drugs for you tonight. And the look on my wife's face, if looks could have killed, I would have been dead on the floor. It's a good thing I was in the hospital. A little while later, another nurse came in, and she said her name was Allie. And right then I knew everything was going to be okay, because my brother's daughter's name is Allie, and she is an absolute angel. So I knew our angel had arrived. Not too soon after that, the doctor came in and said, how are you feeling, Barbara? And she said, I'd feel a whole lot better if I could get some drugs. And he said, don't worry about it. This isn't going to take too long. And then after that, breathe, push, breathe, push. How does it go? Breathe, push. And about an hour later, my beautiful son was born. Now overall, I'd say it was pretty painless for me. We left the house about 6 p.m., and my son was born at 11:30 p.m. I did miss American Idol, and I was still hungry, but that was my early arrival. Mr. Toastmaster.
Mr. President, that was a very interesting speech about your firstborn.